Well, hello, and welcome back to So Forth and So On. I'm Miss Henderson, and today I want to share something that's kind of exciting to me. I have a small sewing space, and don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful for the space that I do have because some people don't have that much. So I have decided I'm redoing my sewing space to make it somewhat accommodate my particular sewing needs. The previous table I had did not accommodate enough yardage of fabric, and I found myself having to go on the floor and just go to different places in order to cut patterns and so forth. So I'm going to share with you two things that I have done to make my sewing space more efficient for me, for my sewing needs, and perhaps you can use some of these tips. The first thing, before I talk about the cutting, I made my own ironing board. I got the idea from a YouTuber some time ago and I just never bothered to do it. But this is my ironing board right here. And what I did is I went to my local hardware store and I had a piece of lumber plywood, and it's about half an inch thick. And I had it cut to the size of the cart. Now, I purchased a rolling cart, a metal frame cart from Target. It was a good price. And it's two tiers, and I'll try to show it to you. See if we can get the camera. So you see it has a level there and then a shelf right here. Wire shelving. And I keep my ironing needs here as well as a couple books, my Bibles that I use for my other channel, Nothing Wasted, where I discuss faith-based conversation. And please join me over there anytime. But back to the ironing board. So I measured it with my tape measure, and I had it cut just a little larger so that it would sit over four corners. The plywood itself, I took quilting batting, and I took two layers of quilting batting and covered this, pulled it over the top, stapled it on the bottom. And then I took a heat reflective type of fabric and put it over the cotton batting. And then I covered it with a piece of fabric, the same fabric that's on this table. After I did that, and I used a staple gun to do all that, then I put Velcro at each corner, hook and loop Velcro at each corner, the circle kind. And I also used glue and put it on here, and now I have a tabletop. Additionally, I added, let's see if I can get a picture. I added casters on the bottom. So now my ironing board is mobile. I can move it there wherever I want to go in the room. And I'm on carpet now, but I can purchase one of those, a mat, like you use the office chairs to make the office chairs go across the carpet. I can purchase that or something like that, and it's sort of like the cutting mat, but we're not using the cutting mat to roll on. And but I can move this ironing board so when I'm sewing, quilting, especially quilting, I'm at the machine, then I can just turn here and iron. If I want to move to another location, I can move. It is the same width and a nice length where I can get more done. Even with garment sewing, I have more room, and I can turn the cart the other way in a different direction in order to get the pressing that I need. So I'm really proud of that make. Additionally, the shelves hold my irons and everything, my starch, spray starch, my my clapper, my ham, the ironing ham, anything ironing related, even the stitchery or anything like that for ironing will go on this cart. The last thing I plan to do, and I'm going to do that and I'll show it to you, is I have, sorry about that, bear with me. I have a piece of pegboard, and I've been planning to put the pegboard on the wall, but it's been sitting for a while because it's just been sitting for a while. Anyway, what I plan to do now is attach it to the back of my ironing cart. And we can use zip ties. There's so many things you can use to attach this, where it gets so stuff is not falling out of the back of it. And I can also put my hooks in there and store things in the pegboard system, so I can still use the pegboard system on my rolling cart. So I'm very, very excited about that. The next thing I want to show you is my new sewing table, so to speak. I needed a space, like I said, to accommodate at least 1.5 yards, 2 yards of fabric rolled out. And this table was not doing it. It's just a great table. So I went to my local hardware store, and everybody was so helpful. The gentlemen were so helpful because when I first went there, I had a piece of plywood and get it cut to the dimensions that I needed. And the gentleman spoke to me and he said, get the one with the melamine topping in your fabric for glide across. And he mentioned that his mom sewed uniforms for figure skating, and that 3 of her garments are in the Smithsonian for the winners. So that was a great conversation. And I was trying to figure out, to make a table and this, that, because I wanted a certain height and the dimensions, a certain length and a certain width. And I said, I'm going to have to make it to accommodate the space that I have and the needs that I have. So I went out, and for the space I have here, I had this cut at 28 by 60. 28 by 60. And I think it covers, and I didn't buy legs. I didn't buy table legs. I didn't need to. I used my existing table as the base for this. So I can remove it if it's cumbersome, if I need this space for something else or what have you. I can just lift this up and move it, which I won't be doing that on a regular basis. But this is the full length of the table here, and so it stretches that area there. So now I am able to cut my fabric. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, and let me just put this here because that's part of it. Before I cut, I put my cutting mat there. It accommodates my cutting mat. And if I wanted to leave this here permanently, I could, but I like the way it looks without the mat when I'm not cutting. But now I can cut. I can pin my patterns and cut my patterns on here. And it's a good height where I'm not hurting my back. It's good height. I can, because it's different from the table, I can pull it closer to me. Look at that. I'm super excited. Super excited. And I'm just going to demonstrate just a little out of my excitement. So I can measure. And cut and make my cuts. Or I can lay out my pattern, pin it, and cut out my pattern pieces. So this is really a game changer for me. So that's all for now. I just wanted to share my 2 new makes. I'm looking at another area to update in a moment. And when I do, and if it works out for me, I will share that with you, because I am buying this piece of wood here. I couldn't just buy this piece of wood. It was a big giant sheet, and I ended up with a lot of extra, so just found some things to do with it, and it was not very expensive. So I think I got this beautiful working table, practical, and for a good price. I could not have gotten it cheaper buying a full table, and it's sturdy. When I am not cutting, I'm just going to put this here. My laptop goes in one corner there, and my sewing machine comes right here. And I'm ready to sew. All right here in my space. And again, I can slide this table back over to my left if I need to. And it's stable, properly situated. So we have to think outside the box sometimes to make things work out for us. Okay? Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you can use one or both of these tips. Have a great day.